So what happens when you get no tracks in an area you think the animal might cross, and you head back to the last track. Maybe he's snoozing right here. And one last look, see if he didn't sneak off this way. Now the other thing you do as a safari guide, apart from spending a lot of time looking into the bush, you spend a lot of time looking at the ground. Now, there's various different methods we use to find animals. One is pure blind dumb luck, and we just bump into them. More commonly, we'll follow their tracks or listen for alarm calls. So that's good. The tracks might cut further to the east, away from our boundary. Now let's see where he is. He came through on a path just over here. It was this one. Okay, so here are his tracks on this side. So I just want to I'll show you them now. Back, but I didn't find any tracks right here. Hopefully, as I jump out of the car, a bush will growl at me, and then we would have found the lion. Okay, so the tracks come in on this path. So the last track is there, there. He goes here. No growling bushes just yet. Where did he go from here? That is the question. There. Did he change direction? Sorry, I'll be back on the vehicle in a second. I just want to make sure he didn't suddenly change direction, because I didn't see any tracks down there. Fascinating. We're going to go back to where we've just been. It is possible that I've missed the track, but it's quite unlikely with the male lion track being the size of my hand. The other thing is I did see some elephant tracks. Maybe the elephants were here after he was, and they walked over his tracks, and that's why we couldn't see them. So we're going to have another closer look. So while we try to figure out what's going on here, let's go back to Jamie, who's got one of a male lion's favorite dinners.
I feel as though this particular buffalo bull has faced many lions down in his life and lived to tell the tale. Look at him. He is absolutely ancient. The patching all over his face, the one broken horn, which you can't see at the moment because he's shy. He's giving you the view of his best side because the other side has a broken horn. Now, we see this particular buffalo bull regularly, and just by the way, my excitement about going to Galago Pan. He's the only current resident at Galago Pan, apart from the guest who was sitting looking out at me from across the deck, so I felt a bit guilty, so we moved back here. No wild dogs to speak of, and no tracks of wild dogs either, so my gut instinct about Galago Pan was in fact mistaken. However, we have decided, between Gert and myself, that this particular buffalo bull is now called Rocky, because he's a fighter. He has clearly fought many battles in his life, ancient and scarred, and by ancient I don't mean in his 20s or his 30s. That's impossible for a buffalo bull. He will be somewhere in his early to mid-teens. And you can just judge that by the amount of damage to his skull. If we were to look closely, we'd probably find his teeth are worn down and starting to wear away. And that's the only real way that you'll be able to judge a buffalo bull's age. But I think Rocky is a good name. Rocky Balboa.
I agree.
Yeah. And we see him all the time, so we will know exactly which buffalo we are referring to. Excuse me, boy, could you turn your head, please, to show us your other side? No? Fair enough. He looks entirely too peaceful to be bothered with that and our nonsense. He's just going to sit there and ruminate, which, for him, is the equivalent of sleeping. The brainwaves that the ruminants go through is the equivalent of a human being's deep sleep. So that's what he is doing now. He's awake, because he's got to be. They can't really afford to be deeply asleep out here, in case something decides that they want to eat them, as Brent described. But he's listening, and at the same time his brain is going through that restful state that ours does when we are deeply asleep. Right. I'm positively exhausted and we didn't even see the wild dogs this morning. They've been keeping us guessing. I don't know where to go now. I'm out of ideas. I think the only answer is to go back to the last set of tracks and check around there. I know that Brent has been waylaid. He's now following up on the lion. Whew. We could, as we drive along the road, just encounter them trotting towards us. That's happened more times than I can count, and probably more times than we've actually legitimately found them, if I'm totally honest. It's usually with a wild dog sighting, you usually look at the direction the tracks are going in and you aim your car in that direction and just kind of hope for the best. In my experience of wild dog tracking. Okay, which route shall we pick from here? I think we should go back to the last tracks, double check around there, make sure they don't pop out on the cut line, and then it might be time to concede defeat and move on, but I don't like saying that, and I hate the idea of it. Another good, just by the way, from where we were around Gallagher's shortcut with that waterbuck, something I didn't think about, but I should have, and something Gert mentioned, was the fact that that waterbuck injury might have been hyena as well. We do know that hyena are hunters, they are very efficient hunters, and it would be within their style to try and grab something like that. They're a bit taller than the wild dogs, so to grab her by the ear would be exactly what a hyena might do. So it could also have been hyena that inflicted that injury. And Deanna, with that smell of blood around her, your question is, would other predators be attracted to it? Kind of like that story of the drop of blood in the ocean and the sharks all zoning in, that had me terrified as a child to go swimming in the sea if I had any kind of scratch or anything like that. In hindsight, it might have been slightly exaggerated by popular perception of sharks. Deanna, not really. They certainly would be able to smell the blood. It certainly might make her more of a target, but only if they were already being hunted. And it would only really harm her chances of survival if she was showing signs of weakness as well as smelling like blood. Because then automatically, as all predators do, they would go for the weakest of the group. So it's not that they would... A hyena might come and investigate that. A snuffing hyena might pick up on droplets of blood that she's dripped on the ground, might follow it for a while just to see what it might be up to. But chances are it's not going to put her more at risk than otherwise. And she
So unfortunately that male lion did cross. And the reason we didn't see the tracks was actually a flock of guinea fowl had obliterated them. So while we were driving, it was too difficult to see. But as soon as I was on foot, I could see it a bit better. Well, which is unfortunate. Now we're going to start slowly making our way down towards the east and see what's happening around Cheetah Cutline, Buffalo's Hook Dam, that area. Hoping the wild dogs might pop out again, but it sounds like they're heading straight north. And as you can see, there's a cold front moving in, and today I'm very happy I added an extra layer to my layers. I've already got multiple layers, but it seems to be getting colder as the morning progresses rather than warmer today. Just trying to find out where Jamie's working at the moment. Jamie. Jamie, what area are you working at the moment? Aubrey's got their tracks heading north towards Hardcore and Buffalo's Hook. Aubrey has tracks of the Mashoa heading north in Buffalo's Hook towards Hardcore camp. Okay, so Jamie's going to head towards where we think Shadow's got a kill. Copy, I'm going to make my way towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. And we're going to head further to the east. But even though we didn't find the wild dogs this morning, wasn't it exciting to be on the hunt? It is quite frantic. Even just looking for them, forget finding them, then it's even more frantic. But there's a strong possibility they might make their way back west on the sunset safari. Now those pups are obviously getting quite big and they're to the west, and that's causing these dogs to now have to travel bigger distances to try keep those puppies well fed. But you never know, those dogs could turn around at any second and pop up on the road in front of us, which is what I'm hoping for, really hoping for. And I thought it was quite fitting that we were chasing around wild dogs this morning, because oh, there we go, one of the Birminghams has been found in Torchwood. He's killed the buffalo by himself. So he's got a meal there. But as I was saying, it's quite fitting this morning that by pure chance I posted a photograph as a wild dog on my Instagram and Facebook this morning. So Finn's wondering, would the wild dogs be scared of the sound of the vehicles? Not at all, Finn. The animals here are very used to the sound of cars, and with the case with wild dogs, they're actually very curious. So even if you find wild dogs that have never seen a car before, they're quite relaxed around the vehicles. And people on foot, strangely enough. And since we're still chatting about wild dogs, Finn's got another question about wild dogs, and is wondering how much ground could a wild dog cover in a day? Finn, they can cover sort of easy 40, 50, maybe even 60 kilometers in a day. So they have incredible stamina, and even they can keep up a speed of around 60 kilometers an hour I've seen them do it personally for about 4.5, 5 kilometers. So I'm going to head towards Buffalo's Hook where that lioness is denning. Apparently she's there. No one has seen the cubs this morning. I just want to check if anyone is there before we make our way right there. Okay, well, if I ever get a chance. Everyone's very chatty this morning. Oh dear, you need to get really quick on the radio this morning to just get a chance to speak. Every time I think I've got a chance. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now this is possibly the longest. Is there any station with the one Satyangala at Buffalo's Hook Dam or to the east of Buffalo's Hook Dam? Copy, thanks. If there's no one else standing by, I'd like to make my way there. Thank you very much. Okay, okay, I'm back after possibly the longest marathon I've heard on the radio in quite some time. It sounds like the cubs have come out and are suckling on mom. So let's go and see if we can get some views of those delectable little monsters. So I know we're going to head off towards those lions. Jamie is not wanting Shadow and Cub to get the better of her. So I know her and Herbie are in that area. So let's see how their tracking is going.
And that is indeed the plan. We are heading back to where Shadow and her cubs' tracks were last seen by Herbert yesterday afternoon. We've been distracted by a magnificent male Inyala who is crossing the road in what I could only describe as a very stately fashion. These male Inyala are truly beautiful to look at. We have a person in camp who has never seen or hasn't spent a lot of time in the African bush, and he came out asking us he'd seen an antelope that was walking very, very slowly, as he described it. And he meant, of course, the male Inyala doing their slow dance that they do whenever they find another male that they feel that they're in competition with. So they fluff themselves up, and they do that very, very slow walk. He's moved off into very thick bush. We're not going to get another view. So join us as we head back towards where Shadow and her cub were last around. The wild dogs may have crossed, but I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that Shadow has not done something similar. But it's okay if she has, because chances are if she has crossed, she might have moved towards Arathusa. And Zola Hayes, welcome to our live safaris. You are a new viewer and are quite certain that this is the best live safari, well, best live, and so the only live safari, the best live YouTube channel you have ever encountered. I am thrilled to hear it. There are multiple platforms upon which you can watch our live safari experience. We're out every day, twice a day, and every single drive brings with it something new and exciting. It is truly marvelous to be out here in the African bush and to be able to broadcast it across the globe. We'd love to hear where you are from. It's just always fascinating to learn about where our different viewers come from and how far our live safari experience reaches. At the moment we haven't even managed to find you any of the cats or the dogs, but nevertheless it is the most extraordinary sight, and I love mornings like this. It is so much fun. Even though the dogs crossed, that sense of expectation and excitement and that pounding heart that you get, you can't beat it for feeling alive. I've completely forgotten that it's cold and that we're in the middle of winter here in the African bush, because we've been so distracted by the prospect of so many exciting things. Now don't forget that you can send through your questions, and this is for all of our new viewers. You can send through questions as well. It is an interactive safari experience, so you can imagine that you're on the back of the vehicle with us, and you can do that on #SafariLive on Twitter, or email through on questions@WildEarth.tv. And please do let us know. Let us know if you're a new viewer and you've joined us for the first time. Let us know where you're from. And please feel free, don't get embarrassed about asking anything about what it is you're seeing or what you've heard about life on a safari vehicle. We do really enjoy hearing from you, and it's what makes this experience so real. I always thought before I started working here that I would really I'd struggle with not having guests on the back. And of course I'm not alone out here, I do have a cameraman, in this case Gert, but I did think that it was going to be an almost lonely experience, and that's not been what it's been like at all. In the last year that I've been working here, it really truly feels as though we have the largest safari vehicle on earth, with people on the back with us, asking their questions, making their comments, sharing in our inside jokes. It becomes a community and a family rather than just your average live channel. Not that I don't think there's a single live channel out there that can compete with us, but I'm biased. The best use modern technology has ever been put to use with. And again, I'm a little bit biased there. But I wake up every day thrilled that we can bring you this particular way of watching the animals' lives, and that's what's so marvelous about it, is that it's not as though you've come on safari for 2 or 3 days. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you can actually follow the animals, learn the characters, get to know them by name, to the point that when you see a leopard you'll know exactly which leopard it is. Or, in fact, not just leopard but also lion. And we've been remarkably fortunate. We've got some really wonderful moments to look forward to with the lions of Djuma. And speaking of the lions of Djuma and Arathusa and Cheetah Plains, I believe that Brent has arrived at one of them.
Now we've made our way towards the Nkuhuma Lioness's den. Now it's not the best view, but the cubs are suckling. Oh, I can see one cub suckling, so I assume the others are. She's currently got her back to us, but she might turn if she gets uncomfortable. Now, can you believe, if you can see her paw to the, there we go, center of screen, oh, excuse me, just above her paw, we can see a little spotty thing. Now, that is one of the cubs, currently attached to a teat. See all the flies as well. Oh, there we go. Hello, little one. Now, shaking its head to try to get rid of some of the flies that were biting it. I'm quite sure Mom probably brought most of those flies with her. Oh, that's it. The lions aren't the only things here at the lion den, and just scuffling around in the leaf litter behind me is a pair of crested francolins. better watch out for when those cubs get a bit older. They're definitely going to try and chase you, probably very unsuccessfully though. Looking for any insects and grass seeds that might be around. One of the noisiest birds in the bush, often adding to the dawn chorus. Oh, we've got some movement this side. The cubs look like they're, oh look, climbing up a bit. Could be jostling for position, or could just be tired of suckling now and moving off. Oh, a foot from mom. Now, if they finish suckling, there could be a bit of playtime between the little ones. Where are you off to, mister? No, I'm going to head back into the huddle. You can see they're still really clumsy. Climbing up to mom's head. They're just so sweet. Oh, falling through the bushes or the branches around mom. You can just see them moving. Now it looks like if we come back, let's go back into, oh, my arm. Oh, around her tail there, Dave. There. Now just have a quick look in there. Let's see. There is still one cub. I just saw that little bit of movement. Now, Emily is wondering, what is the purpose of lion cubs having spots? And it is camouflage. Helps them to remain hidden from potential predators. So sweet. That one's obviously still thirsty. Of course, lion cubs are incredibly cute. Now, they are going to be getting mobile soon, and that's when they become even more cute, when you see them rough housing and tumbling on top of each other. Not quite old enough for that yet. Our mom's been here for nearly a full day. I mean, she's probably got a nice full tummy. We can't really see from here. But I think she'll probably leave them maybe sometime during the day or this evening. Come on, little guys, come out for a play. Now, Pat is wondering whether this lion, if it becomes aware of our current distance, will it become territorial and aggressive with us? Now, Pat, this lion is definitely aware we're here. Their hearing is fantastic. They would have heard us she would have heard us coming from a mile off. And she is completely habituated to vehicles. She's grown up as a cub around vehicles. And you can see she absolutely takes no notice of the vehicle. And she lifted her head to look at what was scurrying around in the underlitter, and that was the crested francolins. So she took more notice of them than of us. So she will not become territorial or aggressive. If you're on foot, it might be a slightly different story. Oh, look there. Straight through the front. In the dead tree, you see it? What have we got there? A white-backed vulture catching some morning rays. Now they'll wait for it to get a bit warmer before catching the thermals. Well, Pat's just saying, thank you for answering my question. Well, Pat, it is my absolute pleasure, and welcome to Safari Live. Pat's a first-time viewer, and always great to have new viewers, and please keep sending through your questions, Pat. Now, there's a white-backed vulture atop that dead knobthorn, and yesterday I actually found a buffalo kill that none of us knew about. A young buffalo, so I think that's where this lioness has been feeding. So I saw a couple of vultures around not too far from here, and I had a little walk, and I found the fact that the lions had managed to, or it looked like just the lioness had managed to finish a whole buffalo without us even knowing she was there. No more than about 500 meters from the den site, so it would have been perfect for her. Oh, we got a little bit of cub movement. I think just re-jostling on the nipple. I think we've had about the best view we're going to have of those little ones for now. So I think we'll leave Mama Lioness to keep feeding. We'll just wait a few more minutes. Shamsung's wondering, do we have fleas out here, and can the cubs or young animals become anemic from the bites? We've got lots and lots of fleas, and lions are full of them, as well as a lot of other animals. I've never heard of any of the youngsters becoming anemic from it. I think they have a harder time with the biting flies. But remember, these animals are incredibly tough, and predators out here are immune to so many different types of diseases. And if you think about what they eat, lions are quite happy to scavenge 5-day-old rotting meat full of maggots. Okay, well, let's leave Mom. Let's head down towards the Buffalo's Hook Dam. And we're going to move towards the dam, leave her be. We'll definitely come back and check on the sunset safari. Hopefully she might have moved out of there a little bit, and we can get a better view of her feeding her little cubs. Now, Arathusa Fox has a very important question. What is cuter? Wild dog puppies or lion cubs? Well, we've already established that lion cubs are definitely cuter than leopard cubs, in our esteemed opinion. But now, oof, that's a difficult one. For me personally, but I do have a particular fascination with the wild dogs. For me, I would say wild dog puppies are cuter. That's my personal opinion. I'm sure there's a few people who might disagree with me. But that's my personal opinion. So while we make our way towards the Buffalo's Hook waterhole, let's jump back on board with Jamie and see how her leopard tracking is going.
Our leopard tracking is going marvellously. So Shadow's left the place where she was, and I've just been chatting to the Arathusa guides. They've picked up on her tracks around Red Dam, and we're making our way there to see if we can't help them to follow up. So they've crossed west onto Arathusa. Our Roy is helping us there, and Cedric provided us, Cedric being from Arathusa, he has provided us with a wealth of hugely interesting information. First of all, for those of you who are wondering about the great Queen Karula, here's our male leopard tracks. Sorry, That's not a female leopard's footprint at all. It's not what I was expecting to see. I'll give you that update in a moment. These tracks are male leopard, and I know that just by their size. Oh, hold on. Here are the monkeys. Come, never mind. No tracks for you. There's male leopards, there's female leopards here. This is interesting. I wonder if Sindile hasn't made his way back towards Mom. Or is it one of our other males? Our stations, the cow are alarming just to the southwest of Red Dam. Those monkeys, gobble, 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 gobble. They're going off, and they're going off because there's a leopard somewhere here. Somewhere in here. Let's see if we can't spot the monkeys that are alarm calling. Bear with me one moment. We're going to stop the vehicle and just listen. I have this horrible, horrible feeling we're going to lose signal. Okay, I'm taking my earpiece out completely. You guys can look at Red Dam. Come. Are we going to lose signal? Yes. There is a very, very good chance that we cannot go in this direction. There's male leopard tracks, there's female leopard tracks. The guys picked up on tracks for cubs as well. This is really interesting situation. It could be that Tingana or the Anderson male have joined up with Shadow. They're both potential fathers of her brand new little cub. And it's not unheard of for a leopard a male leopard that is dominant over an area to join up with a female and their cub for a little while. We're going to risk it. We're going to risk the signal because those monkeys are alarming right there. It is through a dip. Please don't go. Please don't go. Please don't go. Please don't go. Come on, signal. We still seem to be okay. Everybody hold on to your seats. Right, where are these monkeys? Better turn my... Hold on, guys, I just need to chat quickly. I think that they've picked up on something here. How's it, guys? How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good, thank you. How's
good.
it?
We just want to get the monkey.
Yeah, I can hear them in here.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
Cool.
Thanks, we'll see you there. Cheers.
Hippopotamus friend might not be there today, old Bachelor Bob. Now, the reason I think that is because it's still quite cool and the sun's not really beating down. So he might take the opportunity in this cool weather to spend some time feeding for a bit longer before he has to try and make for the mud. Okay, let's have a look now. We're about to arrive. And let's see if Bachelor Bob is going to prove me right or wrong. Ha-ha! Don't you love it when you're right? No sign of Bachelor Bob yet. As I said, I think he's going to take advantage of this cool morning to feed a little bit longer. But we do have some other critters that are quite often resident here at the Buffels Hook waterhole. It's the pair of Egyptian geese walking across the mud flat. Just listening for a second to see if there is any sound. Oh, let's move from those geese there, Dave. On the edge of this little buffalo thorn on the dam wall, there's a little party of birds doing a bit of sunbathing. So let's have a quick look there. Aha! We have 2 species. Yes, 2 species. Now, for the birders, just to get your grey matter churning. Now, I'm going to ask you what both those species are. They're quite easy ones. I think a lot of our regular birders should get them quite quickly. And there we go. What are those two different bird species perched on the edge of that buffalo thorn? If you know the answer, questions at WildEarthTV or hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Okay, now let's have a quick look. Now, I saw a bird yesterday. It was the first time I've seen it in Djuma, and it is an absolutely... Oh, there's so much dust on here. Let me just give it a quick clean. Absolutely stunning bird. So in our garden, there are some aloes that have started flowering, and they have attracted... So funny, I can hear the Egyptian geese sifting for food in the little bit of mud there. It just has... Can you hear that? You can just hear them as they sift there, picking up little bits of food.
You can.
It's a very strange sound. What was that? Now, I was talking about the sunbird I saw I've seen them at home quite often, but this is the first time I've seen them at Djuma. In our garden, we've got some aloes flowering. So, there we go. Just wait. How's that, Dev? There we go. The scarlet-chested sunbird. They are absolutely stunning, and they are in their full breeding colours at the moment. Let's see if we've got a photograph of them for you. There we go. I mean, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Now I'm going to try get a photo of these from my bedroom. Okay, so we're going to keep moving. Jamie's found those monkeys that were shouting atop a tree, so let's go have a look.
Guys, listen to this. Just listen to the sounds of these upset monkeys. Okay, they're starting to calm down. Go away, birds cross now. We're calling up here. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit outside of the drainage. I think this leopard has just crossed through here. The monkeys are furious at whatever's... They're still alarm calling. Hold on. Let's just wait here. That is a leopard alarm call. I might not speak monkey perfectly or fluently, but that is a leopard alarm call. They're furious. What's up, guys? Where are they all looking? It's the ones in that jackalberry that are fiercely alarm calling. Have they been hunted? The last time we saw Shadow and her cub, she had a monkey kill. So we know that she is a proficient monkey hunter, and something's got them absolutely furious. I wonder if she hasn't caught one in here. I just want to go check why the go-away birds are calling, or if they're just calling in response to these alarm calls, but these monkeys are fuming. I'm torn. They're looking down and they're not looking this way. Let's just go a bit closer. Let's just wait. Let's keep here. Let's stay here. We're close. We're very, very close to this leopard. Hey guys, monkeys. Where's the...
Whoa, it sounds exciting. If the monkeys are very angry, they're really good at spotting leopards and lions and such. And, oh, that's quite far off. I was hoping he was going to fly towards us. And there's a battalier. Beautiful birds. Incredible eyesight. Often the first first bird to spot a kill. Okay, so while Jamie searches for a big cat, I think we're going to look for some smaller stuff. Let's have a look for some birds. Although it's not the greatest birding day, we could always do some trees. Now, the one tree we don't see too often around here is a fig tree. Now, this particular fig tree is very interesting. So if we have a look at that, now if we keep to the left, Dave, and zoom in on those leaves there. The big tree.
Right.
Yes, there's the big tree. There we go. So that is a leadwood, and if we come out a bit, we can have a look. So a bird has deposited a fig seed in a fork of that leadwood, and this fig tree is slowly killing the leadwood. If we come down to the right, you can see the main stem of the fig. There we go. Zoom in there. Okay, you can see that fig. Now if we move further down, sorry, Herbie's just calling me on the radio, standing by, and you can see how that fig is busy strangling the life out of that leadwood. Nyala Road North. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Copy, thanks. So look at that. So that's a fig tree that actually looks like a sycamore fig. It's lost all its leaves, so a bit difficult, but we don't have many fig trees here on Djuma, and this is possibly the biggest one I've seen, and it's busy killing a massive leadwood. That leadwood it's killing is probably 700 years old or so. But it is quite fascinating. I've just heard, whoa, we saw Quarantine yesterday on the Sunset Safari. I've just found out he is in Buffelshoek. He has probably walked 10 kilometers from where we saw him last night. More actually, probably 15 kilometers. Hi, Mary. Now, Mary's asking a very important question, and often you'll see us driving off-road and over certain tree species, and Mary's wondering which ones can we drive over and which ones can't we, and what's the difference and why. So there are certain species that are protected. These are mostly slow-growing trees, and we've actually got some right here. Now, this one just off that one there. No, a bit back this way. That one. Yeah, that one. That is a Timbueti tree. Now, very slow-growing hardwoods, and they take a long time to recover if you drive over baby Timbuetis. And if we move further down the drainage line, there's a big jackalberry tree, or medium-sized jackalberry tree. And that is also one of those hard, slow-growing trees that we don't drive over. Now, also you'll notice the elephants don't really push down those trees either. Or they do sometimes, but very, very seldom. Now, the trees we will drive over are generally very, very fast-growing and quite springy, so the wood's not too hard, like a magic quarry, which is next to us here. So that one would be even a bit big for us to drive over. It's got a big stump, but normally we drive over them, and they spring back up, and a lot of people quite often think we're doing a lot of damage. Now, us driving over a few bushes and trees is nothing compared, even if we just stop in this little spot here and have a look. Now, if we start from here, you can see there's trees that are far too big even for us to drive over, that have been pushed down, manhandled, and if we just keep coming, you can just see all of the dead branches and stuff, and none of that is from a vehicle. Those are all from elephants. And so if you compare us driving off-road to an elephant, even a female elephant weighs more than our vehicles, and they of course do a lot more localized work. So I mean, they will literally plow through an area, and now with the drought they're actually causing some really nice clearings to happen, and that's quite natural. And what will happen is the next big rains we have, we're going to have more grass. So we've had a very wet sort of 10 years. We're now going into a bit of a dry cycle, and that's not uncommon, right? A drought of this magnitude isn't that common, but to have a dry cycle after a wet cycle, and it generally works between 8 and 10 years, the wet and dry cycles, and we actually had quite a long wet cycle of about 10, 12 years. We are now in a dry cycle, which will probably last 8 years. I'm not saying it's going to be 8 years of drought. I'm just going to say it's going to be 8 years that were drier than the previous 8 years. And that's the nature's way of controlling certain things. So during this really wet cycle, a lot of the grass species have suffered because the trees have overtaken. And of course, if there's too much tree cover above the grass, it doesn't grow. Now, and that also brings down your numbers of grazers. Buffalo, impala, zebra, wildebeest. So now, with the elephants opening the stuff up, even though quite a lot of those species are going to die during the drought from lack of nutrition, when that really strong genetic stock that's left after the end of the drought is there, and we get good rain, we're going to have a lot more grass coming through, and the elephants will have cleared a lot of the bushes, and a lot of the stuff they're clearing is young. I mean, it's not more than 10 years old, but it's just had such good luck in terms of growing conditions over the last 10 years that it's in certain areas completely taken over, like those little monkey orange thickets. Now with the drought, a combination of the drought and the elephants, it's going to clear out those thickets, and then we'll have some more grassland type or more open clearings till the next wet cycle, and it'll change again. So each sort of plant species has its day in the sun, so to speak. So we're going to keep heading down towards the south. While we do that, let's go see what Jamie's been up to, trying to find what those monkeys were shouting at.
We are racing back around, so we bumped into Roy, who said that the tracks of the male leopard go into a block. He thinks that perhaps he's killed a daker. So it's interesting. Remember how I said there were male leopard tracks? There's also female leopard tracks, so Shadow is still around here somewhere. Potentially with her cub, but now we're tracking a male. We don't know which male we're looking for. Oh, it's a marvelously exciting morning. We're going to try and do a loop around and see if we don't bump into him. Those monkeys were furious. They were so cross. Very indignant. And monkeys are some of your best and most reliable alarm callers. They've got sharp eyes, they've got the advantage of height from the tops of trees. The only disadvantage to that is that they continue to alarm call for quite a long time, which doesn't necessarily give you the best indication as to whether or not the animal is still in the area. So what we're doing is we're going back around the road that we were originally on, that we did that very complex U-turn where I nearly knocked Cat off the vehicle. We're going back there. So we're on the other side of Red Dam, going as quickly as possible, bumping about. We can't go too quickly out here because the bolsters in this particular area, those bumps that we go over in the road, they're not speed bumps. They are for water retention. However, it does mean that they act like speed bumps because they're particularly sharp in this area. So they're to catch water that runs along the road and feed it back off on either side into the surrounding bush. So it's not for speed purposes. If I knew where I was, life would be marvelous. I can't remember what particular road this is called. I think it's called Mafufunyan. But we're about to come to the pump house to the west of Red Dam. I think it's called Mafufunyan. Fufunyan, by the way, is one of my favorite words in sort of Funagalore. It basically means a little bit crazy. Okay. Right, we've checked this whole drainage system. We bumped into some very excited guests while we were checking this area. Okay, let's go along here. Everybody check very carefully, because this is the direction that leopard was heading in. And I have a vague feeling that Roy might be hot on the trail, just because he's called his tracker to go onto the private channel. So he's walking in the block on the other side, and together we're kind of checking every possible outlet for this leopard. Please let it be Anderson. That would be so exciting. It's unlikely though. It's probably Tingana. But I've never seen the Anderson male. The Anderson male is dominant to the west of us, and apparently word on the street is that he's absolutely enormous. One of the biggest leopards in the northern Sabi Sands history. There's a warthog there, but we can't stop. So there's the warthog. Have a look-see. Hello, big boy. You are magnificent, and on any other day we would stop and stare at you for hours on end, but we don't have time, so we're going to leave you be. Sorry, boy. Sorry, everybody. It's just been one of those frantic mornings. Coming through to Knobthorne Pan. He hasn't popped out here, and I don't think he's going to. If he's caught a deka in there, if he's caught something, he's going to move it away from the alarm calling monkeys, because he doesn't want to draw attention to himself, and then he's going to settle down to feed. Whew. What an amazing morning. Full of anticipation. Luckily for us, it's not a huge block. Everybody keep your eyes peeled for the flick of a white tail. Obviously I need some concentration here, and I'm not really focusing too much on you guys, which is not true. I'm trying to find you something amazing. However, I'm going to send you back across to Brent for now, and once again, fingers crossed, when I see you again, it will be with that leopard.
Now, Dangerous Dave, the objectified dish, and myself decided we're going to leave the big cat hunting to Jamie, and we're going to keep moving down the little Mwati River here, and we're going to be looking for birds, bugs, and trees and tracks. Now there's quite an interesting track in the road. You see it there, Dave? Now I wonder, Dave, do you know what that is?
Snake?
No, it's not a snake, but it is indeed a reptile. So, let me see. How's this over here, Dave?
Yeah, that's fine.
So you can see the ground?
Yep.
Okay, so we've got a tail, but we've got footprints on either side of the tail. And if we use that trick to see what the distance is between the footprints, it doesn't work with this animal so well. So theoretically, if we took from the back of the pad to there, this animal should be that big, and it's not. But it's got a very long body. So that's why it's got those big gaps between the tracks. Now this is a very big one. If I take the track I mean, it's nearly the same length as my hand. Now, I was going to guess, I'm not actually going to guess because I know what it is. It is a rock monitor. So a monitor lizard, and a very big one. So let's see where his tracks go. And now these guys like to nest in hollow trees or sort of little caves on the edge or in rocks. Unlike their cousin, the water monitor, was of course always around water. Now I say this is a rock monitor because we're not very close to any water. We do sometimes have water monitors moving between different patches of water. Okay. Where are you off to, Mr. Rock Monitor? It's still going straight. Maybe we can track it all the way to its nest. Now we're going to go through the Combretum Arch of the Mulwati River. I'm just have to go slowly while Dave drops the antenna. The other thing I am hoping to do is find a nice bird party as it's got a bit warmer around this little riverbed. Now the monitor is still continuing on in the tracks of the oh no, where did he go? Veered off. Which way did he veer off? There we go, well spotted, Dave. That's where he's veered off. He's veered off here, gone towards this jackalberry tree. Now if we look carefully, I'm looking for any holes in the trees or in the root systems, and we might be able to spot him. Now, being so cold, I was hoping he had found a hole that he could bask out of, but it doesn't look like it. Looks like he's continued up there, so we're going to continue on our endeavour to find a bird party. Now, while we look for birds, Justin's wondering if we've ever seen any birds on the reserve that are not supposed to be here. A couple of times, Justin, and of course birds don't read the bird books, so they can pop up wherever they want. The one from last year that we saw that's not supposed to be here is the purple-banded sunbird, and that's not supposed to be here. And that's, I think, the best of the birds we've got last year, but every now and then strange things do arrive. Migrants blown off course. Not too far from here there was an Egyptian vulture seen, and it was the first one seen in the Greater Kruger in about 20 years. So it does happen. Look at this, isn't it? It's just an absolutely beautiful big old jackalberry or African ebony tree. Now we've actually seen Karula with a kill in this tree quite a long time ago. Let me just have a quick look. It was a little bushbuck. Now I wonder if we can find any remnants. I'm trying to think, it was probably 5-6 months ago. Sorry, no, it's just vultures waking up. So let's see, can I find anything left of Karula's kill? Ha! I can. Little bits of bone fragment and even a little bit of the jaw. Now look at that, it's almost completely picked clean now, and it wasn't that long ago. So that is a little piece of a bushbuck jaw that Queen Karula munched on. Now if we have a look, I said it was a young bushbuck. You can see these teeth weren't even out yet, so not too old a bushbuck. Amazing, isn't it? You can see the stains from the vegetation Those dark stains there are not mud or anything. That's from the tannins in the leaves that the bushbuck ate. You can still see it's still coming out, so still pushing through. So this bushbuck died quite young due to feed Queen Karula. And actually, it was I think the second or third time the cubs were seen. The cubs must have been a month, so that was 4 months ago. I'm going to keep seeing if we can find any other little fascinating things in the Milwaukee riverbed. Now, there's one of the antelope that really like these little river systems. Not the best view of one, as he's hiding behind a timbuti tree. And there we go, a male Inyala. Chewing the cud and watching us through the bush. I do love that white chevron between their eyes. Oh, almost a look of utter disdain while I was interrupting his cud chewing. Now I think I can see shining horns of another member of the Traphalagus family. And yes, it is, but it's just also quite well hidden. Oh, and he's having a jog. He's going to come out into the gap. No. Or maybe, just hang on. No, that's the Inyala and Impala, but come down to the left. And you see the big hole in the ground? Just behind that. There we go. There you go, young male kudu. Now, it's quite windy, which is causing some of the antelope to be a bit nervous, including that kudu. Now, in the wind like this there, hearing is a little bit compromised, and kudu relies very heavily on its hearing. You can see how he's scanning with his ears, those massive radar dishes, picking up all sounds around. And again, like the male Inyala, he also has a very pretty chevron on his nose. Oh, there's another one at the back. Actually, that's quite an interesting photograph through that gap. So if you hear a clickety-click, it's just me snapping a shot. And hopefully he's going to wait. Oh, he did. He didn't run, thank goodness. Normally, as soon as I pick up my camera for a kudu, it's when they decide to move. It's a nice little view through the sort of portal there. Oh, and looks like he's decided we're not a threat. There's quite a few of them coming through. All look like young males so far. There's a slightly older male. You can see his horns are a bit bigger. I love the way they put their horns down their neck as they move through the thickets, as to not get entangled. Now, he's got interest in something else other than the young males, which is about to pop out a little bit to the right. A little bit more. There, behind that bush there. There she comes. A female kudu. Now I wonder if she's an estrus, that male is following her. So as soon as she changed direction, so did he. Of course, those young males, about 2 years old, not quite ready to compete for breeding rights. And it looks like here he comes. You can just see his legs moving through the bush. Now let's see if she's interested in his amorous intention. No, he's going to have a snack. I'm just going to try and move a bit forward to get a better view of them. Oh, there we go. She's going to jog out into the riverbed. There you go. They are such beautiful antelope. One of the bigger antelope species we get here. There comes the male. Hello, big boy. Oh, no, he's not as convinced that we have good intention. He's going to come down a steep section of the bank. This could be quite spectacular. So, everyone ready with the screenshots? Give him a second to have a snack. Now, both the male and here he comes. Oh, no, he's decided he's going to walk on top. Keep an eye on the female from the high ground. Now, if we look to the female again, which is to our right, she's eating a noxious plant. It's called a timbuti tree, and they have a very strong poisonous milky latex, and kudu will eat them, especially now during a time of drought. They will get some nutrients from them, but also it helps purge their system of any intestinal parasites. Just watch the male. Sorry, Dave, I know I'm making you jump around, but it looks like he might come down the bank. Oh no, he's just stretching out over the bank for a snack. I think he will come down shortly. Hi, Det from Düsseldorf. Oh, here he goes. Dup, 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 dup. Oh, that was very, very elegantly done, mister. Stop in the road for a quick photo. No, you're going to keep moving. Now, those magnificent horns, Det is asking about them and asking, are they part of the skeleton? They are indeed, Det. I'm actually going to show you a buffalo skull that I know about just down the road. It's easier to explain. But so inside that dark covering, there is bone. So yes, part of the skeleton. Unlike deer, whose antlers grow every season and fall off. I'll see. I remember there's an old buffalo skull just around here somewhere. Okay, it should be in the next sort of 40 meters, unless something's moved it, I doubt.